In this video, I will be going over everything you need to know to optimize your Google business profile and start ranking higher for local SEO. So this will be an exact A to Z step-by-step guide that you will be able to just copy and implement into your own business within the next 24 hours and start getting more leads from Google. So we'll be going over business categories, websites, reviews, images, and more, the whole thing. And I'll be giving you actionable strategies and tips that I only share exclusively with my own clients, but I'll be revealing them to you in this video. I'll also be sharing an exact 24-hour action plan that you can just copy at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around to the end for that. If not, let's get straight into it. So this is exactly what we are going to be covering. First, we're going to be going over your business NAP, which is your name, address, and phone number, the 3 essential pieces of information. Part 2, we'll be going over business categories, very important. Part 3, we'll be going over your website. Part 4, we'll be going over services. Part 5, Google reviews. Part 6 will be your images and media, very important part, very underrated. Part 7 will be going over your business description. Part 8 will be going over additional profile information. Part 9 will be the Google business profile posts and messages. And part 10 will be the 24-hour action plan that I mentioned above. So looking at these parts right here, you can see that I've ordered them sort of in order of importance. So we'll be going over them one by one with the most important things first, and then ending off with the additional things that still make an impact, but of course are less important than the first few ones, right? So again, ending with the 24-hour action plan, be sure to watch through the entire video because each of these things are going to give you an edge over your competitors if you do them right. And trust me, there are not a lot of people doing these things right. Okay, so before we begin, just a quick introduction. I'm Shane, founder of Convertio Studio. We work with local home improvement and other local businesses to get them more leads from their website. We've built websites for multiple 6 to 7 figure clients with over 30 plus happy clients. And getting straight into part 0, which is firstly explaining why you need to optimize your Google business profile, right? And if you've clicked on this video, likely you already know the reasons, but I'm just going to spend 1 to 2 minutes here to sort of reinforce that because it is really important for everything that we're going to be doing in this video. All right, so another reason why I added this part is because many business owners always ask me this one question, which is why do SEO when you can spend the money on paid ads? Right? And the answer is simple. It's because it is the highest return on investment on a long-term marketing channel, right? So sure, with paid ads, you could get more clients, in the first 3 to 4 months by spending the money purely on paid ads. However, the thing with ads is that they are a very linear marketing channel. And what I mean by that is you put in $1, you get out 2, right? So you spend more money, the result that you're going to get is simply just going to be a straight line, right? You're not going to see that sort of exponential growth. With SEO, yes, it might be slower at the start, but over a long term, talking 1 to 2 years, the results that you're going to get from it is going to be far more exponential. So I like to say it is by far the most scalable marketing channel, right? And if you're planning to be in business for the next 1 to 2 years, which I expect most of you are, then this is where you need to be looking at, right? So getting into your Google business profile, just put yourself in this situation, right? Imagine your roof of your own home has suffered significant damage and you needed it fixed today. What are you naturally going to do? You're going to head to Google and you're going to start to search for roofers near you, right? Then you're going to start to scroll through the Google search results. You're going to scroll through Google Maps and basically look for local roofers that can help you ASAP. And from there, you're going to have to decide between a list of hundreds of different roofers, right? So in that situation, if you're faced with these 2 businesses here, which one are you going to pick? And I think the answer here is obvious. And that is essentially the reason why we need to optimize our Google business profile, right? Because rightfully speaking, no one is going to be picking the one on the left. So if your Google business profile looks like that right now, you need to be watching this video. So just before we begin, I'm just going to very quickly touch on Google's algorithm, because that is going to help us understand what we need to optimize to essentially start ranking higher on Google. So it is primarily focused on these three main things, and that's relevance, distance, and prominence. And I won't be going into these in too much detail because it might get too technical for some, but it's just good to know these things, and I'll be explaining the main gist of it, right? So getting into each one, relevance essentially just means how well your business matches with the search query. So what that means is basically when someone searches for your business, does your business match with what's being searched? So if you're a roofer, someone searches roofing services, does your business match with that? Is your business category relevant to what is being searched, right? So for example, HVAC contractors, someone searches that, essentially you're going to get all of these different HVAC contractors there, right? And essentially what Google is looking for is if your business is going to be able to help the person searching, right? So if your business matches all of those, essentially your Google is going to rank your business higher, and a lot of that is going to come from your Google business profile. The next thing is going to be distance, and this is basically how near you are to the person searching. So this is something that's very specific, especially if you are a local business owner. And it's a big contributing factor, right? There are almost 1.5 billion near me searches every month. So Google is going to prioritize businesses that are closer to the search point. So for example, if you're in California, you're not going to show up for when people search for this in New York. And this is something that we simply cannot do anything about. It's just a ranking factor that we have to understand. Right? So yeah, you can't physically change your Google business location. So this is just something that we have to understand, right? And the last thing is going to be prominence, which is essentially how well known Google thinks your business is. So this is essentially Google's way of measuring how trustworthy or reputable your business is. Both online and offline. And essentially what that comes down to is whether you have, a proven track record on your website. Do you have a consistent amount of positive reviews? And is your website, does it look trustworthy and legitimate? And does it have, relevant content to that? So there are a ton of factors essentially that contribute this, and we'll be breaking those down in the video, right? So just really important to know these three things, and essentially how those will translate is going to be through our Google business profile, right? So now that we know what Google is looking for, we can actually look at what we need to change, right? So like I mentioned, we can't change our Google business location, so we can't rank higher for distance. However, we can improve our business's relevance and prominence, right? And that comes in a multiple, manner of ways. But essentially what that'll be is your Google business profile is, the biggest factor. Next is going to be off-page, on-page SEO. That's things to do with your website. Local citations, that's also basically, listings of you getting listed on directories, things like that, that contributes as well. Google reviews and engagement signals are also to do with your Google business profile, right? So 3 out of the 6 things that you need to rank higher on Google is essentially to do with your Google business profile, which is why it's so important. So getting into the actual meat of the video, which is what I assume most of you are here for. So the first thing that we need to optimize is going to be our business NAP. So NAP refers to our Google business name, address, and phone number. And these are essentially the 3 core pieces of information that Google will continuously look for to recognize you as a legitimate business, essentially. So what we need to do is we need to make sure these are clearly and properly displayed on our Google business profile. And apart from SEO, it's also important for your customers to find and contact you as well, right? So the first thing is the business name, and this is fairly straightforward, but it is one of the most important parts of your Google business profile. So if you look, for example, for the top searches of electrician in New York, you'll see that, so you'll see here that if you search for electrician in New York, the Google business profile names all have the main keyword electrician in their title. So it's no surprise how important this part is to your Google business profile. And to edit this, essentially, you can just go to your business profile in Google. So just search My Business on Google, click on Edit Profile, and it will be the first thing that you can edit simply by clicking the Edit button. And the thing here is whether or not you should put your main keyword in your title. So what I mean by that is things like plumbing, electricians, HVAC. Should that be in your title if your business name doesn't have it? And a large percentage of you guys that are watching this video have likely created your business names a long time ago. And if that's the case, there's no reason for you to change your entire business name just through your registry to get, the keyword inside. And I also don't recommend that many people be tempted to purposely stuff keywords into their business title just to get it ranked. And to let you know, this is against Google's terms of service and it can get you suspended. So what's important here is to essentially just use your correct business name as it is in your LLC or your legal entity and display it just exactly as it is. However, if you do want to start competing more for your main keyword, you can do this with some minor rebranding, and this might take a little bit of work, but this is an exclusive tip for you. So for example, if you have, in your logo, you contain the main service that you're offering. So for example, this is House of Deer, which is a hair salon in Dallas, and it's currently ranking 5th on Google. So if you take a look at their Google business profile, you can see that they actually have their main keyword, House of Deer hair salon, in their, actual company branding, and they promote themselves as a hair salon. So for this case, it would be completely natural for them to update their business name into House of Deer hair salon instead of just House of Deer. And that's going to make them immediately more competitive for their main keyword, right? If someone searches for hair salon in Dallas. So in that case, it does make sense for them to, update their Google business profile business name here to start ranking higher, essentially. So just before I continue, if that's you, you can do this sort of, rebranding to get the main keyword into your business. But if that's not the case, like I said, just go with your normal Google business profile name entity, right? So the next thing is going to be your business address. And this is going to be one of the ways that you can rank higher, specifically for near me searches, right? So here there isn't too much, SEO hacking or whatever to get higher on Google. What's important here is that you make sure that you use your proper Google business, your actual business address, your physical business address, and not a virtual or a fake address. And usually you'll need to verify this with Google as well. So just use the correct and physical one that you have. Again, looking at your Google business profile, all you need to do is head to Edit Profile, click on Location, and just edit your business location there. And like I said, Google will need to verify this, and you might need to do a video verification for that. But the thing here is just get it added and updated as need be. So for certain businesses like HVAC contractors, pest control services, things like that, who do not have an office and provide their services at, for example, someone's home, are called service area businesses. So for these businesses, Google's terms of services say that you should not have an address on your profile, but instead you should only use your service addresses. So to do this, what you'll need to do is you'll need to add all of your specific addresses to your Google business profile, and you'll need to turn off your business locations visibility. So the thing here is to not add unnecessary service area locations, as they're not going to actually help you rank higher on Google in most cases. So you can add them in here in your service area, but they're not going to help you rank higher on Google. So for businesses like those, a common question that they will ask is whether or not they should use a business address. And the answer for most situations is going to be yes, you should keep your address listed, because not having an address means that you're not going to have a pin on the Google Maps. So this will technically be against Google's terms of service, but personally, I think you should still be maximizing your chances here. So if you don't have an office, it could be worthwhile to think about setting up a location just so that you can have an address and an actual map pin in the Google Maps. So the thing here is just to make sure that, it's as justifiable and as reasonable as possible that you have a proper location on Google. So whether that be you can provide, in-office appointments, or you can provide physical appointments, get that done or get that arranged so that you can have a proper location on Google, because this is going to get more traffic to your listing, and wherever possible, you should have your address listed. But if not, like I said, the practice is to go as a service area business. If you are, for example, a HVAC contractor, pest control service, and, pool service, things like that. So that is the right way. But the way that will get you more business is going to be having an actual address. So do make the arrangements and have that updated on your profile if possible. So the third thing is going to be your business phone. And again, this is fairly straightforward. All you need to do is include your primary phone where you want your leads to be coming in on your Google business profile page. And you can also add, toll-free numbers, tracking numbers here if you have them, just so that you can track the number of calls that you're getting. But very simply, same process, head to edit profile, click on contact information, and your phone number will be the first thing that you can edit. You can just add it in there with your primary phone and any additional phone numbers that you might have. So moving on to the next most important thing, which is going to be your business categories. So your business category is essentially what you select when you're first creating your Google business profile, and this plays an extremely important role in ranking highly on Google. So the general idea here is that you need to choose the category that best matches with your business description and your main services. And it's incredibly important that you get this right, because this can quite literally make or break your SEO rankings, right? So for example, when you're searching for a plumber, what you'll see is that the primary category is what shows up here. So you can see these are mainly plumbers, and there's, interestingly enough, an air conditioning contractor that shows up, right? So why is this so important? According to Whitespark's, Google Local Pack Ranking Factors from 2023, the primary Google business profile category still remains the most important local SEO ranking factor, as it has been for the last several of years. So I've seen cases of businesses not getting any customers at all to immediately being flooded by leads simply because they changed their category from a wrong primary category to an accurate one. So getting this right needs to be a top priority. So don't shoot yourself in the foot here. I'll be showing you exactly how. So there are two things you need to consider. And essentially the first is, which are the services that you prioritize? So which ones you prioritize more? If you have one that, for example, generates more revenue for your business than the others, then you'll want to target those. For example, if air conditioning repair is your main service that gets you the most revenue, you might want that to be your primary category, as opposed to, duct installation or heating contractor, right? The second thing is going to be competition. So for example, the business category lawyer is extremely broad and very competitive. So if you're a smaller firm, you might want to try starting with the category divorce lawyer or medical lawyer, just to start ranking higher for those terms that might get fewer leads, might get less traffic, but you'll be able to compete higher on Google, so it'll end up working out better for you. Right, so in general, the more specific your category is, the fewer customers will sort of be searching for it, but it'll be easier to rank for, and therefore, you won't get fewer customers, you'll probably get more in this way. So you need to make a decision here whether you want to compete with competitive keywords or you want to just start ranking higher for a smaller, more niched keywords. So the other way that can do this is simply reverse engineer what your competitors are doing. So for this method, it's very simple, but it's a great way to figure out essentially what business categories you want to use by copying what your competitors are doing and what's working, right? So what you need to do here is essentially download these tools called GMB Everywhere and or Plepper, and these are just Chrome extensions that you can add. And essentially what happens after you install them is you can head to Google Maps and essentially search for your main service. And what's going to show up is the essentially Google business categories for all of the businesses that are ranking over here. This is GMB Everywhere. For Plepper, it'll show you how many business categories are using each of the Google business categories, essentially. So you can see 20 plumbers are using 20 businesses are using keyword plumber, 12 are using HVAC contractor, 8 are using drainage services. So essentially what we can do here is we can note down the categories that the top ranking businesses are using. So for example, here, the one with the star is the primary category. So it seems like plumber is the most popular primary category. And then things like air conditioning for the secondary categories are popular. Drainage service is popular as well. So essentially what we want to do is we want to note down the common ones and we want to update them to our own profiles. So the primary category is the most important one and it will have the biggest impact on your rankings. So that's the one that you want to spend the most time deciding on. And again, just use your competitors' ones if you're not sure. And then after that, you can also add up to 9 secondary categories for, any relevant services that you think are important. There's no need to add more categories than you need, of course, because the primary one is the most important. So just do this up to your own discretion. I recommend just adding a range of services that match your business. So a tip here for seasonal businesses. So for example, if you're a seasonal business that offers a different service depending on the time of the year, your business category is going to be an important thing that you need to keep track of. So for example, a landscaping company might be focused on lawn care services in the summer. So their primary category would be lawn care services. However, in the winter, there's not going to be much demand for that. So what they might do is they might switch to snow removal services in the winter when there is more demand, right? So they can simply just update their primary category to remain competitive, right? Another example is if you're a HVAC contractor, you might want to use air conditioning contractor in the summer when more people are looking for it, and then switch to heating contractor in the winter, right? So just a quick little tip there for you, but updating your primary category can be a really, really powerful optimization. So to update it in your Google Business Profile, all you need to do is head to Edit Profile, click on About, scroll down and find Business Category. From there, you can add in your primary category in the first one and any additional categories that you think you might need, and then just click on Save to update it. So generally, anything from 3 to 6 categories is perfectly fine here. So moving on to your website, and your website is going to be extremely important. And I always tell people to treat their websites as their business's first impression because most of the time it is. And these days, the average business simply won't survive without the online presence, and which is why the website is so important to essentially have that, right? So not only that, it's going to be what Google actually looks through to find content about you, about your business, to actually figure out whether you're a legitimate business or not, right? And fun little statistic here is 97% of people learn more about a local company online than anywhere else, right? So you need to have that optimized website. So your business website mainly ranks for the organic search results. And what I mean by that is essentially when you search for example, HVAC in Florida, what you'll see first is the Google Maps showing up. And this is going to be where your Google Business Profile shows up. Further down below is when you get your organic search results, which is where your website is. So essentially, it's important that we have both of these optimized so that we can show up for both the local map and the organic search results. So This is going to be a big source of engagement for people searching as well. Many people like to click onto your website for a Google business profile, so it can be a deal breaker to some if businesses don't have a website. So for your website, the things that you need to optimize is essentially, one of them is going to be your Google business profile matching the NAP information that we've discussed above. So make sure that these are correctly displayed on your website and your Google business profile. Make sure that you have the same phone number, the same address, and you have the same business name. So I always recommend people to just put this in the footer, and it's important that Google sees this so that they recognize you and they're able to match you essentially to the right Google business profile. So if you are a multiple location business, for example, you have branches in Atlanta, you have branches in Portland, it's going to be important to essentially link to the correct page. So you don't need to create a separate business website for each of these locations. What you can do is essentially you can match the page that has the same keyword to the location. So for example, Mr. Electric of Atlanta, it would link to their Metro Atlanta page. For Mr. Electrician of Portland, it would link to their local electricians in Portland page, right? So no need to create multiple websites. You can use different pages from the same website, right? Getting into part 4, which is going to be adding in your services. So why are these important? Essentially, services refers to what you would see here, which is essentially everything that you would offer to a customer. So these aren't actually important and they don't actually increase your ranking on Google that much, but they're still incredibly important for your potential customers to see, because having your services here helps them as well as Google determine whether you are a suitable business to actually help them out, right? If you offer the service that they are currently need, then of course they're going to want to choose you. So you can add as many services as you want here. All you need to do is click on Edit Services from your business profile page, and then you can come down, you can scroll and you click on Add More Services and essentially type in whichever services that you offer. So one of the ways that we can start to build tons of relevance around specific services, again, relevance, one of the key ranking factors, is to create multiple service pages for each of your individual services that you offer, right? So what I mean by that is, for example, here, this company offers heat pump installation, so they have a page for that. And they also offer heat pump maintenance, and you can see that they have a separate page for that. So what they've done is they've essentially created one page for one services, and they've essentially created tons of different pages for each of their services. So the process here is simple. All you need to do is create a list of the services that you want to offer, or they can just be the main categories that you have from earlier. But what you want to do here is you want to create a separate page for each of these services that uses your main keyword and locations. For example, heat pump installation services in Portland, Oregon. Heat pump maintenance services in Portland, Oregon. It can be air conditioning maintenance in Portland, Oregon. It can be, air duct installation services in Portland, Oregon, right? So you'll just want to create one for every single service that you have. All you need to do is really create one page and then just keep duplicating it and changing out all of the content to match your target keyword. Right? After you have each of these pages, we can actually connect these directly to your Google business profile as products. So this is completely in line with Google's terms of service, and in fact, they recommend businesses to do it as long as they're adding, proper, legitimate, and relevant, services. And not many businesses do this, so this is an incredibly strong move, and it's definitely one of the ways that you can get ahead of a lot of your competition. So what you want to do here is, after you've created your service pages, you want to head to Edit Products, and essentially for each of your product, you want to be adding in your service as, your service instead. So that, for example, that would be heat pump installation here. You want to select the category, put in a description, and essentially put your service page here as the URL, right? And you want to create one product for each of the services that you offer, right? So that's going to be extremely strong. And the next thing that we'll look at is your Google reviews, which of course many of you know is a very, very important ranking factor. So why are these important? Well, I'm sure you will mostly know this right here, but when was the last time that you chose a business that had no reviews versus one that you had 100 5-star reviews? The answer is probably never, right? I'll just answer that for you. So reviews are the cornerstone of your business because they increase, of course, the online credibility of your business. And what we want, of course, is that they boost our Google Maps ranking to help you get more customers. And another reason is that they help to convert more leads from wherever they come. Social media, ads, etc. If they see that you have tons of reviews on Google, they're more likely to trust you. So you can do this experiment if you want yourself. So you can go to Google and search for whichever service is interesting to you and look at the first page versus, the fifth, sixth page results. You can see here on the first page, 1,300, 1,400, 700, 1,100 reviews there. And you can see on the sixth page, 75, 1 review, 115, 91 reviews, right? There's almost 10 times more reviews on the first page as there is on the fifth page. So if you can see a correlation there, congratulations, you know how important Google reviews are. So let's actually see what we can do about that, right? And what I always tell people is if your sole goal was to collect as many 5-star reviews as you could, you would probably do really, really, really well for your business, because it's just, foundationally one of the assets that a business can have to stay competitive and acquire, more customers, build word of mouth, and of course, boost their SEO rankings. So just very quickly, 3 steps that I can share to help you get more Google reviews. And if you wanted to do this, you could start to see up to 92% more reviews just from doing these 3 things. So what these are very simply, you can verbally ask your customers and simply request for them to leave a review after you provide a service to them. Very important. Not many people do this. You have to be doing this. The next thing is to provide them a direct link to leave a review. So, you can be a QR code, essentially just giving them a direct way to leave a review. And the last thing is going to be following up with each customer 2 to 3 times to essentially ask them if they've left a review. So these steps are extremely simple. They cost no money, and they literally only take a couple of minutes extra of your day, if not seconds. And the ROI from this increased number of reviews are going to be so huge from this extra, couple of minutes that you're going to be wondering why you didn't do this at all before. So I highly, highly, highly recommend getting this done. And if you want to know what I mean by a direct review link to ask for reviews, if you go to your Google Business Profile and you click on the Ask for Reviews button, you'll get this link here that you'll be able to send directly to your customers, and essentially that will bring them directly to your business. Or you can use a tool like reviewqrcodegenerator.com that has a free Google review code generator that I've personally created and makes it really easy for you to get your Google review link, right? So a tip here is to respond to all reviews, and just simply by replying to all of the reviews that you get, you're immediately going to appear as a much more engaged and proactive business. And so it's still going to make it seem like you appreciate every single review much, much more than the regular business. So not only is this going to encourage more reviews, it's also going to reflect much, much better on your business and on new customers who are searching for your business on Google. So just taking this extra couple of minutes is going to attract much, much more customers as well. So I highly recommend you start responding to all reviews as they come in, right? So the idea here is that we can create a proper system that you can easily stick to and essentially teach your employees to carry out as well. And I've created an entire in-depth guide as well as a video for this on my channel, so you can copy the exact steps. This document and the video will be in the description, so you can just go ahead and watch that if you haven't already. Right, moving on to the next part, which is going to be images and media. And again, talking about first impressions, images won't actually improve your rankings on Google. However, they do play a massive role in getting a customer to choose your business. And in fact, here are some statistics. So Google business listings with more than 100 images get 520% more calls. They get 2,717% more direction requests, and they get 1,065 more clicks to their websites, right? So you don't need to have 100 images to get results like this, but it just goes to show how important these really are, and you need to get really, really good images up on your Google business profile if you want to be competing well, right? So here's what we need to do, right? First, what we need to do is I recommend getting really branded images. And to this, I recommend just spend the money to get professional photos taken, because the ROI on this can be really, really big. And the important thing here is to just make sure it represents your company well, right? It has your company branding here. It showcases, your team in uniform. It looks really, really professional here. It can be, a lined up team photo, or it can be on the job like this. Works really, really well. You can even include your company van with your branding as well. And having these on your profile, as I'm sure you can agree, look 100 times more professional than businesses that are just blank or have no images, not trustworthy at all, right? So these can be taken with a simple iPhone, right? You don't need to get a professional photographer. So the thing here is to just get it done, right? The cover image is going to be your most important image. You can see that's the one over here, as well as over here. So your cover image is going to be the most important image. So you need to make sure that you choose this properly. And what I recommend is always just going for a company or a team photo. Make sure you guys are in uniform here. And again, you can take this within 5 minutes of your mobile phone. You just need to ask your team to gather around for a quick photo. But the impact that this is going to have is going to be well worth the time, and it's going to leave such a good impression on your business. So I highly recommend getting this done, right? So to add your cover photo, all you need to go to is in your profile, click on photos, and you can see you can add a cover photo there. You can also include your business logo, which is another simple thing that many businesses leave out, and just another small improvement that helps your business to look a lot more professional. So to add this in, again, just click on photos, and you can see here, you can change your logo in the options as well. So having images constantly uploaded every week is a great way, again, to showcase that you are an operational and really, really active business. And, these can be simple images of your team, your services, any on-the-job projects that you have, just whatever you've taken on your phone throughout the week related to the job or the business or the company, right? And you can simply repurpose the photos that you use from the social media accounts, very common practice. So if not, I highly recommend making it a habit to just consistently start taking new photos while you're on job, while you're working, take a quick 1-minute break, snap a few photos, and essentially upload these to your Google Business profile in JPEG or PNG formats. And this is going to be really, really good for your business. Right, moving on to part 7, which is your business description. And the thing here is that this does not actually affect your ranking. So it does not play any part whatsoever in your SEO or ranking higher on Google. So there is absolutely no need to be stuffing keywords or just trying to optimize this for the sake of it. For example, for fire pit service, you can see they put fire pit all throughout the description. So do not do that. Instead, this is going to be a great place that you can highlight, certain unique things about your business and essentially get people to trust you as a legitimate company. So in general, the best practice is just treat this as an about page and, like on your website, keep it short and sweet. Just highlight some unique things that can be unique selling points about your companies. Just keep it to 750 characters or less, right? So don't need to be really long and drawn out, and don't include any links or emojis in your business description as well. So to edit this, all you need to do is click on Edit Profile, go to the About, scroll down under Business Categories, and you'll be able to edit your description there. So going on to part 8, which is going to be additional profile information. And if you've reached this part, the main idea here is just going to be about completion, right? So what I focused on in the first part of this video is essentially the 20% on your profile that gets you 80% of the results, right? So this additional information, the main things here is to just make sure that you have it, you have any important information that customers can use on your profile that they would need to essentially convert them into a lead or a booked appointment, right? So these aren't going to directly impact your rankings, but they're still really, really important to get finished. And again, I go back to this image. Which profile would you be choosing, right? You would be choosing the one that's complete as compared to the one that barely has any information, right? So what does this include? It includes things like opening hours. So this is really important because search queries for things like businesses that are open now, near me, have seen a 200% growth. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your opening hours are always accurate and updated. This is especially important for, off seasons or holiday seasons like we have coming up. So make sure that these are always updated so you can start showing up, accurately for these kind of searches. So to do that, all you need to do is click on Edit Profile, click on Hours, and you can fill in all of your opening or your special hours here. So the next one will be years in business. And again, this is a great one for establishing credibility. You can see here, 4.9 stars, 40 years in business, huge amounts of trust there if someone sees that. So to do this, all you need to do is to click on Edit Profile, go to the About page, scroll down and find the opening date. And essentially you'll put that in here and Google will automatically update it and display it on your website for you. Right? The next thing to look at are business attributes. And essentially these are the essential small details that can be important for some businesses to show, right? For example, things like providing online estimates, whether you're wheelchair accessible, if you are a restaurant, for example, and whether an appointment is required. So all really important things. Again, these don't contribute to ranking factors, but these are a great way to answer any doubts that potential customers might have. Right, so to edit these, all you want to do is click on Edit Profile, and essentially you'll scroll down to More and you'll find all of the related attributes where you can just add them in one by one over here. Right? The nice thing and the final thing to do with your Google Business Profile is GMB posts and messages. And essentially what these are posts that show up, on your Google Business Profile. And these are a great way to essentially, again, appear as an engaged business if you haven't noticed the trend already with a lot of things that we're doing. So these are especially important as well if you're a seasonal business or you're constantly, having different services depending on the time of the year, right? This is where you can promote, current offers, events, services, or business updates. So regardless of what that is, I recommend every single business that I work with to post at least once a week. And you can very easily do this by repurposing your social media content as well. But all that it is here is to essentially make it look like you are an active business that's still in operations, right? So there are multiple types of Google Business Profile posts. There's updates, offers, and events. So updates is just any changes to the business, for example, holiday opening hours. Offers are essentially where you can run any discounts, for example, Christmas sales, things like that. You can run any discounts and put that in your offers. And events is when you can promote certain events that you're hosting or you're just sharing from other companies as well. So for each post, you can add in, all sorts of different information like descriptions, links, payment pages, things like that. So just go around, publish, something. Honestly, I just recommend publishing something, right? Simple business updates work really, really well. So to do that, all you need to do is head to your Google Business Profile, click on Add Update. You can choose the type that you want, and then you can just write and include any links that you can. So, Again, just get creative with this. You can post kind of jobs, updates, hiring, or even employees' birthdays is one that I really, really like as well. So doing this as well, you'll appear much, much more human to your potential customers, which, for example, for a small local business owner, that can be a really good thing. So with Google Business Profile Messages, this is a feature that Google added in relatively recently in 2017, which is they added in because not all customers are looking to, dial in a phone call on the spot. So this is a great way to essentially capture more leads that are a bit more hesitant, right? So this is going to show up on your Google Business Profile in any Google Business Profile posts that you actually publish. So it can be a great way to capture leads. And on desktop, sometimes it might appear as a get a quote button that is really, really prominent. So yeah, overall, just a great way to get leads. To do this, essentially what you want to do is head to business.google.com, and then you want to head into messaging on the left, and you want to verify your phone number. And then after that, you want to turn your messaging on once your profile is verified, right? And that will essentially automatically update the messaging button on your Google Business Profile, right? So if you've made it to the end of this video, as promised, I have a 24-hour action plan that you'll be able to implement for your business. Essentially just copy, use for your own business, and you'll have a really, really great optimized Google Business Profile. So if you only had 24 hours to fix everything on your Google Business Profile, to start ranking higher on Google, start getting leads, here is exactly what I would do. So first, I would start by ensuring that I have the correct NAP information, both on my Google Business Profile or my website. Really simple. You can do that in less than 15 minutes. Next, what I would want to do is focus on our Google Business category. So what I want to do here is spend, 1-2 hours studying my competitors' business categories, writing that down, use the tools GMB Everywhere and Plepper to essentially study them. And then I want to start optimizing my own ones, especially my primary category, right? So if I'm using one that, is not relevant, for example, I'm an epoxy business and I search on Google, all of the other epoxy businesses are using the primary category flooring services, then I'll want to update my own one to be flooring services as well. So the third thing is going to be updating your photos and media to essentially include plenty of branded and company photos as well. The fourth thing is that I will throw up 2 or 3 Google Business Profile posts and updates about my business. And then the fifth thing is just focusing on profile completion. So adding in attributes, opening hours, things like that, to essentially make sure these are all complete. And what all of this is going to do is, by following these 5 steps, you're going to make sure that you have a great Google Business Profile that will be better than 70 to 80% of others out there, right? So I highly recommend that you get these done. And I also have a video on how you can get more reviews right off the bat. So that is on my channel as well. If I could add in a 6th step, that would be it. Collect more reviews, right? So the thing here is, as far as ongoing optimizations, they come down to mainly these 4 things, right? So over the course of months, years, you need to be putting in consistent work. So what that looks like is consistently collecting more reviews. Like I said, establish a system and collect these consistently. Teach your employees to do it as well. You also want to be posting regular weekly updates on your Google Business Profile posts. You want to be adding in fresh new images about jobs, profile, add them to your profile, different jobs, projects that you're working on every single week. And then lastly, you want to be updating your Google Business primary category depending on the season. Like I mentioned, if it's winter, you need to be changing your services, then do what is needed. So if you did these 4 things consistently for the next 90 to 180 days, you're not going to believe how well you can start ranking on Google Maps. And I really, really mean that. And you'll be able to see the power of just how many leads you can start getting from Google, right? Without spending $1 on ads. So to wrap up this entire video, again, go through any of the previous sections. The timestamps are below in the video in the description, and just essentially complete all of this information to ensure that you have a really, really strong foundation for your local business. And from there, it's just a matter of getting the work done, having these optimizations completed. So get on this ASAP. You can stop watching this video and just head over to your profile and essentially start getting that done. And of course, if you do want someone to handle that for you, I'm also always available to help. I'm offering a one-time website and Google Business Profile optimization, and essentially guarantee that you get more leads from your Google Business Profile in the next 60 days, or you get all of your money back, a full 100% refund with no questions asked. So you can go to my website, Convertio Studio, if you're interested in that. If not, I have over 200, I think 300 pages now of free content for creating high-performing websites for local SEO and local businesses. So you can access that in the description as well. But if not, that is it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.